following is a Journey into Comics Network production.
Hey, this is Veronica from Foodies Watching Movies, and you're listening to the Journey into Comics Network Best of the Week show. Highlights from all the episodes on the network this week. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics.
Welcome, true believers, to Journey into Comics 175. Nate, we are nearing another this is another landmine episode. As I said landmine, I think I meant landmark.
I hope it's not an explosive episode.
It's not. It's going to be a pretty explosive episode, sure, but 175, man, coming in through, it gets to a point, and I think that's what I'm going to start doing after 200, where until we reach another 00 number, I'll be like, this is just another episode. This is just another thing, because it gets to a point where maybe I psych myself out saying, oh, man, this episode has to be this because it's this number and it's got to be up to this par. Dude, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. We got to come in and week out, deliver some great content to all of our great listeners, and who I want to welcome right now into the show. And, Nate, today we have absolutely nothing on the docket. We don't know what we're going to talk about. We didn't put up a plan. We don't have a game plan. We don't have a rundown. This is like literally you and me early in the morning. It's not even early in the morning anymore because it took you so long. It's not as early as
it was.
No, it took you so long to roll out of bed that I've been sitting here. I've already eaten breakfast. I've already cracked into my first caffeinated beverage of the day, and it's gotten to a point of where originally I think I was going to do another show today, but now it's like I don't want to.
No, just keep it loose today, Brando. My thing is always, I think sometimes we do really good flying off the cuff on podcasts because it forces us to be our absolute best selves. We have to think on our feet and be able to just kind of be tangential, work our way into topics and stuff. Before we really get there, though, I want to say episode 175 has an interesting thing I have not told you about, because I don't know if you know this, but since the Journey into Comics Network got into the month of December, every Journey into Comics episode that is an even number has made our top 10 in the past 3 months. However, if it is an odd number, it has not made our top 10 in the past 1 month. So 175, hopefully, will be a slobber knocker of an episode that will break this weird curse. It's so funny to look at because it's like 168, 170, 172, 174. I'm like, holy shit, we're the evens.
When you said the word tangential, it made me think of Robin Williams as the genie for some reason. And I'm just like, 175 is this magical, wonderful place.
That was a really good genie. No, Brando, it's cool because this show, it does work a lot on the idea of that we can just like kind of rip with our tangents and whatnot and just kind of go with the flow. There's not like a lot of really crazy news. There's a lot of like topics I want to kind of touch on. Nothing really in my mind sticks out right out the gate, but I'm going to tell you some things I've been doing that's going to kind of lead into this. So as everybody knows, and I'm not trying to just do a big, long fucking start to show sales pitch, Brando. That's not what I'm about. But patreon.com/Journey into Comics, $3. Join the road to Patreon, or the road to Patreon. Holy shit. Oh, folks, I fucked that up. Join the Road to Infinity War on Patreon. We're doing every Infinity War. See, I'm off my game today. Let's start over, folks. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. So go to our Patreon at journeyintocomics.com or patreon.com / Today, I do not have the plugs in me for some reason. It's like it's coming out all not in the right order. Okay, I'm going to try one last.
You're like the sheriff of Rottingham from the Robin Hood
Men in Tights. Yes.
Like he's so dyslexic, he just starts picking up random words from the sentence in order.
Okay, folks, here we go. I'm going to try this again.
It's the existence of our train.
Train of our existence. Here we go. It's going to set me right. We're on track now because the train of our existence showed up.
Virate Pikings.
Virate Pikings. Okay, we'll remember that one too. Anyways, folks, go to patreon.com / Journey into Comics. join the road to Infinity War. We're going to review every MCU movie. Brando and I started with Iron Man, working all the way to butt stuff, going to cover Black Panther, and then, of course, the very next day after that episode drops will be Infinity War. It will be time. You will have joined us on our road through Infinity War, where we're going to be discussing where you can find Stan Lee and all the cool cameos and all the neat Easter eggs and maybe some of the after-credit stuff, and where are the Infinity Stones within the MCU, and also, what kind of crazy post-credits can they come up with? And I'm looking at you, Mr. 4 post-credit scenes in Guardians of the Galaxy, but I'm only bringing up the Patreon stuff, Brando, because recently you and I didn't know you were doing this, but I knew I was doing this just because I have worked my way through the MCU in its entirety, front to back, as far as things that are released digitally and or physical release. So, of course, I haven't rewatched Thor Ragnarok. I did see that in theaters, and, of course, Black Panther's not out yet. But, man, it's been really kind of cool to reflect on the MCU, and it's nice to talk about it here while we still have a lot to go within the Infinity War that we're doing, because I think only episode 3 or 4 just dropped. No, 4 drops this week. Butt Stuff's review of Thor will drop on Wednesday.
Okay, so I'm not working my way through. I watched Iron Man. I watched Hulk because I helped out on the literature review, and I'm watching Thor: Dark World for Game Addicts review of that. Now, here's the thing. I'm actually trying not to go along, because what I want to do, and I've been noticing this already, and you're going to hear it more in detail on the Game Addicts review of Thor: Dark World. This movie is a sequel. Yes, it is a sequel to Thor, but it's also a sequel in a sense to other movies, because they reference other movies. In the plot, she says, "I saw you in New York," or on TV, "You were in New York." They don't say what it was.
It's the Avengers. You know it, though, because they created this universe.
But what if you've never seen this?
Then you don't understand that this is a sequel to 2 movies.
So, that's what I'm saying, is that, yes, for most people, they understand, they get it. He was in New York at the incident with everything going on. But if this is your first time coming in, you've got to make this movie more accessible, and that is a detriment to me. For them to drop these little things where they're like, if you don't know it, you don't know what's going on. Literally, that should have been a little bit more of a sales pitch to go watch that one if you've never have. Do that in a way where they kind of did it later on with Loki turning into Cap.
A little bit, yeah, when he's walking with Thor.
Well, because first, he turns Thor into Lady Sif, and then he goes, "What? Oh, because maybe if I was one of your new friends." And then he turned into Cap, right? So it was so there's that, and then you kind of understand, oh, that's Captain America. Okay, yeah. I mean, granted, you have to be kind of living under a rock to not know what those movies are. But to the same token, you've got to constantly be thinking about scripting and words when you're looking at bringing in somebody brand new. This is their first exposure to this. Don't make them that confused. And I kind of feel like Thor: Dark World. I'm halfway through this freaking movie, and I know what's going on, and I'm still a little lost.
Oh, man. I can't wait to hear your guys' full review on that. Game Addicts had 2 movies. You guys are doing Thor: The Dark World, as you just said. You're also reviewing Ant-Man, and as I was saying off air, I really love that because Mike, I will never not hear him say this the other day when I was last with you guys. Mike said, "I've never seen Ant-Man." Mm-hmm. And that shocked me because I thought Mike was a pretty genuine Ant-Man fan. It's kind of how it's come off in a couple episodes of JIC. So I was a little bit more hopeful that he would give it a chance. And then, of course, things happen. It slips your mind. You just never get to it. I understand how that happens. So it's really awesome that his first time seeing it is going to be your guys' review.
He also hasn't seen Civil War.
Wow.
And they haven't. I don't think they've seen Doctor Strange either.
Man, and that, and that's one thing I also want to mention. It's kind of awesome in my rewatch of the entire MCU to notice how the Disney buyout slowly changed and rolled things over, and how you can slowly see the evolution of what they're trying to do. And then once the training wheels fell off, I think I really genuinely believe that they had a couple stumbles with Iron Man 3, which I give that movie a lot more credit now, rewatching it. I've said that before. It's definitely better as a Christmas movie. If you put that in your mind, like, this is like A Christmas Story, or this is like Elf, or this is like fucking Rudolph, you know? If you put it in that, like, keep it in Christmas when you watch it, it helps to make Iron Man 3 a little bit better. And, of course, that's not my review, and I digress. However, it's like the Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World were a little bit of the MCU's really stumblings at the end there. That's right when, like, the Perlmutter news kind of broke and everything was starting to fall off the wheels there. And then, boom, Winter Soldier kicks ass, Guardians kicks ass, and everything after Winter Soldier, in my opinion, in the MCU has been solid.
I guess moving on to the Poor Four, which for this segment is going to be a lot about Trump. There's a lot of Trump news this week because we came across the anniversary of the inauguration. So there's a lot of news I want to talk about today with that, and I'm really going to kind of break it down into 4 main points. There's an article I came across when I was going through from BBC regarding Trump's first year in office, the good and the bad and the ugly of it. And some of the things, like, it talks about some of the good things he's done, some of the bad things he's done, some of the outright terrible. So really getting into Trump, there's been a few things I didn't really realize or didn't notice, and I don't know if this is an embellishment or not, was that it looks like we have had 2.1 million jobs been created since last January. Unemployment remains at 4.1%, a 17-year low in the United States. African-American unemployment is at 6.8%, the lowest since statistics have been gathered for 45 years, which is awesome. Like, unemployment's never been below 7% in the African-American community. Consumer and business confidence is up, illegal immigration is down, and prospects for continued 3% GDP growth. So, looks like that's a good thing, but I don't know how many of that is directly related to Trump president. I know what comes to happen a lot with presidents is that a lot of the initial effects of a new president's term is still residual from the last president's work, because nothing immediately changes. So this could still be a domino from the last year of Obama's presidency. So we'll kind of see how the rest of his term goes. Some of the bad things, Republicans in Washington, D.C. control the White House and both points of Capitol Hill. The level of control is so dominant that Republicans have not a governing majority this large since 1929, which is pretty fantastic. And you'd think that with a majority in the House and the Senate and control in the White House that they would be able to repeal some of this stuff, but really when it came to Obamacare, cutting tax, all that, it's not been as easy. Trump, despite being a very hands-on, very business, very negotiable, legislative, talking president, he's been largely hands-off in this legislative process. So it's allowed factions of GOP lawmakers to bicker and openly fight, causing the party to unravel a little bit. So moving into the rest of this year with 2018, where there's elections, so Democrats will need only 24 seats to flip control of the House, and 38 GOP lawmakers have already announced their retirement ahead of this election in November. So 38 Republican seats are going to be up for grabs, including. So there's a chance to either fill it with another Republican or possibly Democrat. That doesn't count all of the other seats that are up this year. And with that, it becomes a lot more distinct possibility that we could, if the Democrats control either the House or the Senate, impeachment becomes more than a fever dream. It becomes a distinct possibility, even though it's a long shot with impeachment proceedings. Kind of getting down from the bad to the ugly, the way the president portrays himself, being the victim of fake news and the biased media, and he uses Twitter to belittle real and perceived political opponents, and it's just really beneath the dignity of his office. I know during the shutdown, he posted a picture on the account with him in the Oval Office working. It's just him in a suit jacket, no tie, with a hat on. I think the hat really just doesn't belong. Like, I feel like if you're in the Oval Office, there'd be no hats allowed. Hats are meant for outdoors. They shouldn't be in the highest office in the U.S. It just seems a little ridiculous to me. And really his behavior and the talk of his mental fitness and all, it's just kind of crazy. There's the whole thing with residuals from last week when I talked about the shithole comments and allegations of racism and disparaging for hating other poor countries in Africa, and it's just, what is he even doing? But his supporters still love him. The Trump supporters maintain his tough talk and social media use allow him to connect directly with his supporters, and they like what he says. And it's really like, Trump was elected to represent all 300 million Americans. That includes those who are black, brown, gay, Muslim, and transgender, but he seems to only be focusing on his base, the people who elected him, the hardcore conservative Republicans, and he needs to be the president for all of us for however long he remains president. If he finishes the term, if he gets elected to a second term, which would be quite an unfortunate circumstance, or if he gets out of office before that due to some reasoning. And it really just comes down to how we're going to view the future. 2018 is going to be a big election year. 2020 is going to be... He's obviously going to run again unless he chooses at that point to not, or if he's out of office before that. But we really got to figure out what's going to happen, because I haven't seen any Democratic candidate anywhere in kind of position to stand up to Trump in 2020 if he's still there. So it'll be very interesting to see how the rest of this year shakes out, and as we move into Trump's second year in office, which is not a sentence I think a lot of people thought we'd ever hear. And there's been some polls that have come out kind of judging Trump on his first year, and it's kind of surprising. Over at NPR, they asked a couple of questions and kind of judged it based on an overall, they broke it down to Democrats, Republicans, Independents. So it's kind of interesting. So there's a few questions here. It looks like just two. It says, overall, has Donald Trump met your expectations, exceeded your expectations, or fallen below your expectations as president? And it looks like overall 45% of Americans believe he has fallen below their expectations. 71% of that is Democrats, 18% of that is Republicans, and 44% is Independents. Those who believe he met your expectations is 34%. 19 of that is Democrats, 51% is Republicans, and 36% Independents. So, and then for exceeding, only 15% thinks he's exceeded their expectations. 4% of that is Democrats, 28% is Republicans, and 16% is Independents. And pretty much all the people that are unsure are around 6%, which people just have no idea what's going on. And then asking the question, overall, would you decide President Trump's first year in office as a success or as a failure? And how it breaks down is 15% overall think it was a major success, 25% says he was a success, 20% says he was a failure, 33% says he was a major failure, and 7% are unsure. And for the major failure, 62% of that was Democrats, 5% was Republicans, and 30% was Independents. So basically it seems to be a very political divide. So it looks like 62% of Republicans think he was a major failure, but 50% or 62% of Democrats think it was a major failure, and 50% of Republicans think he was a success. Looks like it's just more of the same. It looks like they're going to be very entrenched in the party line, at least until 2018, when one House or Senate or even the highest office could switch. And then there was a CNN article which gave his first-year report card. It kind of ran over card. I'm just going to kind of read this article to you because I find it kind of interesting, at least some of the grades they were given. It says, exercising presidential power A-. It says, from the start, President Trump promised to flex the power of the presidency to get things done. He wouldn't be constrained by the obstacles that have stymied other presidents, other power centers, and longtime Washington norms so that he could achieve his goals. The good news for Trump is that he came into a pretty powerful office and expanded its impact. He has dismantled a huge number of economic and climate regulations put into place since the 1970s, and used his Twitter bullhorn to promote an agenda of conservative populism that has thrilled his base. He has unleashed a frontal assault on immigration through increased arrests and raids by immigration and customs enforcement, attempting to stop funding for sanctuary cities, the refugee ban, attempting to end DACA, and his legitimating nativist rhetoric that should not be uttered anywhere near the Oval Office in 2018. Although there's a major investigation underway of Russia's meddling in the 2016 election and into whether there was a collusion with the Trump campaign, right now the Republican Congress has done very little in response to the Nixonian assertions of authority and going after the investigators and the journalists working on the issue. And kind of speaking on this is that when I saw the movie The Post, even though it's a period piece of really kind of developing around the Nixon administration, it's very much timely in how Trump is treating the media. So I encourage everyone who's curious to watch the post. It's a very much a parallel story to kind of what we're dealing with right now. Now, moving on to legislating, they graded him a B-. He says, up until the end of the year, this was an easy F. For a Republican president whose party controlled Congress and whose party disagreed on very little when it came to policy, a wave of right-wing legislation akin to the sweeping changes of President Lyndon Johnson's Great Society should have been smooth sailing, but it wasn't. Trump's turbulent leadership style and the chaos that gripped Washington as a result of his leadership left the GOP fumbling the ball on health care and failing to move any signature bills through most of the year. But he redeemed himself to some extent by pushing the massive corporate tax cut through, giving the party's wealthy donors a Christmas gift. It was a triumph, whatever the long-term effect of increase in the budget deficit and contributing to greater inequality. Trump has benefited in the short term from some major employers such as Apple, who have announced expansion plans, or others who have said they would give bonuses to workers. Of course, passing a corporate tax cut should be low-hanging fruit for Republican government, and it is notable that even moderate Democrats said no to the bill. And the disastrous performance on handling the proposed budget and DACA deal in the past few days is a reminder that when it comes to Capitol Hill, President Trump is no Lyndon Johnson, which is definitely an understatement.
To a nicer guy, it couldn't happen.
I am the man of the hour, the man with the power.
I want to debut a new segment. I'm doing it right now because I just can't get around this stuff any longer, okay? I'm debuting a new segment called Rebooking with Brando, where I take something, either take a show or take a storyline, or take this show. I'm going to rebook this show right here, right now.
Awesome.
All right.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
So, Nate, we have two locations, sure. Okay? We have the Barclays Center. We have the Manhattan Center, okay?
WrestleMania 2. WrestleMania 2. WrestleMania 2. Sorry, I had a bunch of sneezes in my throat. I didn't mean to.
I mean, bless you. Really hope you feel better going forward here. But, okay. So, I'm trying to remember, was the IC title match after the 8 o'clock hour?
Okay, so here's what I've got in the notes. You got the Absolution Fatal 4-Way match with obviously, okay. Then you got the little Kurt segment. They did the Undertaker package at 7:49.
Okay.
Then the Undertaker segment happened next in the center, right? And 25 years of terror, blah blah blah, teasing all that shit. He doesn't really say anything. He doesn't really hype that anything's going to happen. I was really expecting John Cena's music to hit right here, Brando. I was waiting on it. Like, I was like, hey, when's Cena's music going to hit? This is the perfect opportunity, and of course it didn't. But then, looks like, what do I have here? 8:05 is officially when they started the IC title match.
So what I would have done, restructured the first hour of the show where the entire first hour is at Barclays. And we moved the Taker segment. We're going to shorten, since the Austin thing, since he doesn't talk, we're going to shorten the women's match just a little bit. So that way we give Miz and Roman more time, because that's going to close out the first hour.
Do you maybe rebook this 8-woman match? And I know you're trying to feature everybody, but do you maybe book it as like a 6-pack or like a 3-on-3 type thing to just get a little less chaos going into the end of the first hour?
Basically what I'm doing is after the women's match, we're going to go to break. We're going to do we're doing the Kurt segment, and then we're going to do the Roman Miz match. We're going to move the breaks around to where that way it works out to where the Roman Miz match ends the first hour, and then the entire second hour is over at the Manhattan Center.
Ooh,
we don't go back to Barclays Center until the third hour. This allows us to feature more at the Manhattan Center than what they got. We kick it off with the Taker segment. We go to break. We come back with Bray Wyatt and Woken Matt Hardy. Okay. So they get a segment, and then you can I know they had, during that second hour, was the Elias Cena thing.
Peep show thing.
Oh, yeah, okay, the peep show thing.
Also, Jericho's in there somewhere, because that happens before the Elias Cena thing.
Right. So we're going to mix and match stuff around to where the whole second hour, there's stuff going on at the Manhattan Center, and we're not going back and forth and doing this crap, and you close out they closed out the last part of the third hour before going to break into coming back to they had this little, the DX reunion, and then you had the Balor Club come out, and the Balor Club had like a 30-second match with the Revival. Literally blink and you miss it. and then they beat up on the Revival. Well, that's going to close out hour 2. Okay. We're going to have a whole, basically what I'm going to do is try to book an old school Raw segment. Like book that 1 hour Raw in the middle of the show. Book
Awesome.
an hour, book an hour, and book an hour. Do none of this back and forth stuff where those guys at the Manhattan Center have to sit there and watch something for 40 minutes, then come back and they get a segment.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem fair.
No.
I will say they got some cool shit, though. I don't know if you saw like the behind-the-scenes stuff that happened after the cameras went off and Miz came over to the thing and Rollins came over. And, you know, I think they tried to make up for it a little bit with the experience. But honestly, Brando, listen, I don't have this kind of money. I just want to say this one thing real quick. I might not have this kind of money, but for the experience to sit in that arena, to get that ring and the whole overall experience, just to almost be reliving 1993, it would be worth that price for me. Did they miss book? Absolutely. But let's keep going with what you got. I can't wait.
Okay, so AJ is there. AJ just does a backstage segment. Why not utilize AJ in a match?
Yes.
Because I didn't really feel like their nostalgia booking here was that great. It really wasn't. And so I would.
Also, did they tease the NWO or say the NWO was going to appear and then just Hall appeared?
Nash couldn't make it. Nash had knee surgery and was saying that he couldn't fly yet. So he had to back out, so only Hall showed up.
Damn.
So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But we did get, like the DX reunion. I like some of that stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of jumping around it, like in the show a little bit. I liked some of the banter, which that's always funny. I like how Sean kept trying to bring up like stuff that he probably wouldn't talk about now.
Yeah.
And then Trips is trying to like tell him, no, we can't talk about that. And then
he's like, but do you remember that one time we wore the Santa hats?
And then I like when Sean got frustrated. He goes, dang, I used to be the boss of this group. Now you're the boss of everything.
That's true. Absolutely.
And then they brought the Outlaws out. Does it bug you that?
Yes. I already know what you're going to ask, but the answer is yes. Go ahead.
Does it bug you that Road Dogg doesn't say your ass better call somebody, but calls Billy Gunn badass Billy Gunn?
Badass
he still
Billy
says
Gunn.
ass.
Yes, the answer, yes, exactly. Thank you. Brandon brought up a point I was going to bring up on the show. Thank you so much.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
I get so... Okay, growing up, I'm a big mark for the New Age Outlaws, so... Oh, you didn't know? Down. Your ass better call somebody. That shit, like... When that went off, when I was a kid, I would go fucking ballistic and be stoked. So now when it doesn't quite hit that note, I'm like, you fake-ass, bitch-ass motherfucking liar. That's not what you used to say. And then he's like, the badass Billy Gunn. And I was like, no! If you're not going to say it in the intro, you don't get to say it here, Road Dogg. That's not how this game works anymore, my friend.
And it would work if he censored himself that time, too. Because... back in the day, he used to he goes, the Road Dogg Jesse Dames, the B-A, double D, A double crooked letter.
Yeah, I remember when he used to spell it out. That was awesome, too. And, why did they bring Pac out, almost last? That was, kind of a backwards thing, because it was a dip in the... Because, no offense to Pac, and he got a great pop. The 1, 2, 3 chant was beautiful. Having him there in the Manhattan Center was a cool moment. And, of course, also having Razor right there alongside of him, introduced as Razor and not as Scott Hall, which was kind of cool. But it just, his mic skills have never really developed that much. So he just has, a couple, chain smoker voice one-liners, and then that's it for Pac. He should have been before the Outlaws and then introduced the Outlaws. That was my thinking. But
okay, so do you remember X-Pac used to have his own variation of the DX theme?
Yeah.
And then they just played the regular DX theme?
Yeah, that's weird. Is there a reason?
I don't know. I'm pointing that out. I was expecting it to go, and it
One night to the top, spin my mind like I'm rocking the bottom line. You know, like. You know why I know that, right?
No.
Because who had all the Ruthless Aggression anthology music shit always? Preston. So every time we hung out together, we would jam different stuff, and I liked the Xbox theme when I was a kid, so of course
Preston
I fucking jammed
really
it.
digging the Val Venus theme.
Oh, the horn?
Like the saxophone, like the porn music.
Yeah.
And then just being like, you know, him telling his mom he liked it or something, and I'm like, in my back of my head, I'm like, they don't know it's porn music.
Yeah, like they're not catching that
Like
they're missing the reference.
I just don't like. It's funny because the kind of stuff that we watched when we were kids, they won't even allow on TV now.
Oh Jesus, no! You couldn't. Okay, any segment with Sable now, not a fucking chance. None. Sable and Mark Marrow segment, no way in hell. It's not happening.
Yeah, well, like I was gonna bring up like the Val Venus like little segments that he would do where he's like saving.
Ooh, pee-pee choppy choppy.
Oh, there's that one, of course. But like it would be like the little film thing of like them on the set, and he's like, I'm on the set of my new film, shaving Ryan's privates.
Oh God, I remember that too.
Hello, ladies. And he'd always have some weird sexual innuendo joke to say. It's like,
that was a great Sean Morley
you
impersonation.
see the big Valboski. It's kind of like a Timex watch. I take a licking and keep on ticking.
Warning, podcastrophe imminent.
We went to Hooters because
Oh man, I haven't had Hooters in a long time.
I haven't either. I had a gift card.
he had a gift
That's the only
card.
reason I went.
I haven't had
It's not
Hooters.
that great.
I haven't had Hooters since last February.
You remember the exact date or close to it?
It was the 12th of February.
It was around
Did you go there for Valentine's Day?
18th, 19th. Somewhere around there. No, I went there for my friend Richard's birthday. He was guest on the show last week. We went for his 30th birthday, and I left because I had to go to the gym and work out with my trainer. But they continued, and then I come into work the next day, and he's like, or he didn't show up, which I didn't think he would show up because it was his birthday and it was a Thursday, so I knew he wasn't coming in. Fast forward to Monday, he's still not there, and I come to find out his wife kicked him out on his birthday.
Really?
And which started this whole chain of events where I convinced him and my friend Joe. I convinced my friend Joe to let him move in, which was a hilarious joke. I figured it would go one of two ways. I figured, okay, best case scenario, Joe lets him move in, it helps him out, they have a good time, it goes smooth. Best case scenario, he moves in, Joe is completely miserable. Fucking they just are at each other's throats, and we get to hear all about it at work, and it's endless entertainment.
He didn't get kicked out for going to Hooters, did he?
No, he got, him and his wife are rough, all over the place.
Yeah.
But they're back together now.
Oh, good.
They were separated.
Love a
for
happy ending.
They're separated for 6-7 months,
Oh, wow.
and then finally they got back together. I mean, I feel like I'm sharing a lot of private
Yeah, it
information,
seems like that.
but it's whatever. Neither of them have Facebook, so.
Oh, there we go. Let's talk
It's
about
whatever.
all their personal lives.
But no, Richard's hilarious. Rollo is what he called it.
I've met him once.
Rollo,
Pretty
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
At the bar.
yeah. Rollo, Richard Olovich, Rollo the Destroyer, Rollo the Aquarius. He has many names, and they all start with
the
Rollo.
delicious caramel candies.
I'm gonna text him that right now.
Oh my God, that's not a thing till now.
Look at you.
Go ahead and keep talking. I'm gonna while I text him.
I just so some of these tattoos that you get, do you just get them spur of the moment, like your goofy ones, or
The goofy ones, definitely.
yeah,
Rolo, the delicious caramel candy.
Yeah. Because I went and got this.
Oh, wait, that just clicked on me. Like Rolo, the actual candy.
Oh,
Rolos. I'm an idiot. Okay, back to tattoos. Go on.
Well, I was like, I got this.
I thought that looked fresh.
Yeah,
that's Ash.
Yeah, but everyone at work thinks it's Abraham Lincoln. So.
To be fair, I
couldn't.
I didn't get that from my initial look at it or like earlier, but like I've noticed and I'm like, that looks shiny. That's new.
Oh my God,
that's new. But no, as soon as I looked at it, I'm like, this is my boomstick.
Yeah, and I was like, Abraham Lincoln didn't have a shotgun or a chainsaw. This guy's not wearing a hat or has a beard, but everyone thinks it's Abraham Lincoln. And then I had to explain to like 5 people what it was, and of course, none of them know what the Evil Dead is. And I was like,
you should murder them.
And I was like, well, it's like campy horror, and you mean like Chucky, like that, or like the Jason guy. You know,
oh my God.
Oh, that Jason
I was like,
guy.
it's campy horror. So she literally thought what I meant was horror movies that happen in a camp. So he was like,
oh
you mean
my
like
God.
Jason?
Well, a lot of people don't know that term, camp.
Yeah.
They don't know that term.
And I was like, all right, I'm not explaining this to any more people. I'm going to long sleeves tomorrow for sure.
I recently started watching, because it came on Netflix, Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
It's fantastic.
I need to finish it.
I've watched it like 3 times through already.
They got the first 2 seasons on there.
Oh my God.
I need to finish
the third one comes out real soon. I think this month,
sweet.
maybe, if it hasn't already started.
Awesome. Yeah, I need to finish it. I kind of fell off it for a minute, but I'll get back to it. They're short episodes, so I don't know why I can't just binge it and watch
easy to
it.
get through.
I'm a huge Evil Dead fan.
Have you got to the 2nd season yet?
No, I'm still in the first. I'm like
episode 2 is probably my favorite.
I'm on like episode 5, I think.
Ooh, it's so good.
It's been a minute.
Lucy
I started watching.
Wallace is still a babe for being 50 something.
Yeah, she looks pretty good in that. Like,
oh my God.
I was never into the whole Lucy Lawless hotness craze, but she looks pretty good in that show.
Not
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Good one.
I didn't come up with that one.
Ha! I didn't think you did.
That'd be Wayne's World.
Thank you,
Garth.
But yeah, like the Xena Princess Warrior or whatever. It's all right, but
Yeah, I was never.
she gets better with age for sure.
Yeah, does she ever get naked in Spartacus? I haven't watched Spartacus.
Yeah,
A lot.
Every episode.
Okay, cool.
Like a lot.
I mean, I've never seen. An
I've been told to
episode.
watch Spartacus, and I haven't.
Or just go to Mr. Skin and watch all her clips. That's
Mr. Skin.
oh, back on the porn.
I remember Mr. Skin from my early years.
This title episode is going to be about porn, right? The title of this episode is going to be about porn.
Tyler talks about porn.
Oh man,
I won't do that.
That would
to
easily
you.
have to be its own podcast for sure. Just what new fetish I found today, new thing I found out I like.
Like your giant porn.
Don't. Oh, come on. we won't get into that.
Giant porn. What?
It was. It's like giant. Oh, Jesus, Dave.
You're welcome.
It's like-
I got you in this awkward conversation.
It was like I found a few videos on Pornhub, and it was called like giantess porn, and all it is like I don't want to talk, but it would be like a stepsister or something who like tricks her stepbrother into drinking this shrinking potion, and she turns him into a little game piece or whatever, and then she just sticks him right in.
That's a thing.
Yeah. So.
I once watched a. So
damn it, Dave.
Starting with.
I never watched it again though. After that day, I swear.
I saw this article on Facebook. It's like they've finally done it. They finally made Pokemon porn. This is just the beginning of the rabbit hole I'm about to go down. So I was like, huh, and they had like still shots that didn't have anything, but and I'm like, and it was a whole article about it, and I was like, okay, I got to see this. So I watched it, and they had an Ash, a Team Rocket, a Misty, and some chick that was painted and dressed like Pikachu. Pikachu.
Oh god.
I
get it.
Like Pikachu.
Like dick.
And she's okay, so they defeat the Team Rocket, and Misty is like all hot from it and decides to fuck Ash. and then Pikachu joins in, and Pikachu stays in character the whole time.
Oh God.
Oh God is right, because holy shit, like I typically have the porn volume at like as minimum, just to barely hear it. Maybe I'm not a big fan of listening to chicks moan. I don't know, it gets annoying if it's the same shit over and over. I don't know. That's just me.
Some of them are.
As I mature, the volume goes up.
as your taste mature.
As my taste matures. So when I looked for that video, I actually came across the website it was hosted on and created on, and they have a plethora, a menagerie of fucking porn spoofs.
Yeah.
They have an Avatar one.
Ooh, I would watch that.
There's like Pirates of the Caribbean. Not Pirates. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates is different.
Yeah, Pirates is an actual porn. It's the highest budgeted porno ever made.
Whoa. You gotta check that
and
out.
it's people actually watch it for the story.
As you should. That's why
As you should. No, I tried watching it and I couldn't get into it because it was just like
Wait, is that a softcore one?
Oh, no, it's hardcore.
Okay.
It's hardcore. But it's like 2 hours long, I think.
Oh, God.
And it's
You only watched like 10 minutes of it.
Yeah, I only need 10 minutes.
I couldn't even give it that because like I was just skimmed through it for all the sex scenes, and every chick in the movie is like giant fake tits, and I can't get into fake tits. I'm sorry.
Yeah, oh no.
I thought you said every chicken in that for a second. I'm like,
every chicken has fake breasts. Fake chicken breasts.
Chicken breasts.
They're not free range. Back to the website. So I just happened to see this one of them. It was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one.
I've seen that one, actually.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
Oh, so they're fighting Casey Jones, April O'Neil. They end up banging. And then at the very end...
And it's actually April O'Neil, the porn star.
Oh, no shit? That's awesome.
Not that I know that.
But you
So
did.
at the
You
end...
told us.
After Casey Jones has already gotten off, the turtles come back in, and they're like, "Ugh." So she starts like a fucking jerk circle, or they start a jerk circle around her while she's sucking off their like fake turtle penises. Like it's so the prosthetic penises are like turtle penises are so bad. And like she's like sucking them off and like jerking. She's sucking one off while jerking two others, and then there's another one just jerking off in the back or whatever. And it's so fucking bad. And then when they finally come, it's like just green ooze shooting all over her,
like a Nickelodeon show.
Like it's fucking green ooze just fucking bukkakeing the shit out of her.
Good luck.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Addicts Podcast, the show where we talk about the modern and retro video games that we play and collect. I'm your host, Brando. Joining me here today, as always, is this podcast player 2, Mike.
Oh, hello.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm in a lot of pain today. I've been dealing with a lot of sciatic pain. And if you guys are wondering why you're not seeing us on YouTube, that's because we are not in the same place. Because I feared for like my own personal pain tolerance level, I like to think it's relatively high. But with this nerve shooting pain sitting on those hard ass chairs that we have in the game room at your place, I feared. I'm like, man, I'm going to have to crawl down the steps. Padfoot's going to like tackle me and just maul me with love the entire time that I'm on the floor. And I'm just going to have to like crawl out to my car and lift my, because dude, literally, when I'm on my feet, I'm fine. I'm perfect. If we did the whole show standing up in front of a green screen like a weatherman, could probably do the show fine. But if I'm trying to relax, I'm in so much pain. And then when I try to stand up, I'm in even more so pain. It's like I almost have to stretch myself to be able to get ready to stand up.
Right.
It absolutely sucks. So we do apologize for not really being on camera this week, which is, it's fine. We don't have a whole lot of pickups to show you guys or anything that, coming up in. But what I do want to say, Mike, is that for the audio portion of the show, which is, we're a podcast, number one, so it's mainly audio. Like, we got featured by our hosts at Podbean.
Yes.
And as we record this, that was just last week. But by the time you hear this, it'll be more than a week removed. We want to welcome every single one of our new followers and our new listeners to the show, and hope you guys want to stick around and listen to us nerd out and talk about some games. The thing is, guys, is that we do this every single Thursday right here on Podbean. And of course, if you want to listen to us on other places, we're over there too, on the iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, and on YouTube, as I said, normally with video. But that is I think what I'm going to do is take a still shot of one of us like sitting at the table, and then we're not moving, but like we were just talking. So that way, it still seems like somebody clicks on that. And have you ever seen those really bad clickbait videos? We're like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I gotta click on this. Or it's like a lot of the fail videos, or a lot of the things put like a really attractive girl on the thumbnail, and then she's not in the video whatsoever. And then you feel duped, but you also felt somewhat entertained by the fact that a lot of people are just really stupid and eating Tide detergent pods.
Right.
Have you heard about that?
Yes. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it there.
So, what we always like to do here on the show is that we like to start off with some pickups, and I only have one, and I got the Mass Effect Andromeda strategy guide, and I have the guides for the other games, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. I was able to find those and track those down. I have the big art book for Mass Effect 1 that Nate gave me many, many years ago, but I never did pick up the guide for Andromeda, and nor do I really need it. But since, I'm kind of that collector, I'm like, well, I already have the other ones. I got Mass Effect Monopoly. I might as well get this. But the idea is that, when I saw it for $4, I'm like, I'm buying that. That's only $4. It's in really good condition. A little bit of wear on it, but not much at all, just like all the other ones. So it fits right in with my collection. And then when I go back around to replaying Andromeda, whenever that's going to be, probably not for a good while, maybe I'll actually utilize it and try to 100% it and track down all the different crap.
Yeah.
All your different little things, all your different little collectibles that you can get in that game. Maybe I'll do that, because that was part of the I like exploring, but I don't like redundant exploring.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I feel like what was a lot in Andromeda. But you have a pickup or two over there as well?
I have two. So I found Perfect Dark Zero Collector's Tin, and it has everything in it, and it's in pristine condition, which you can see and nobody else can. The tin is not dented, and it still has all the sleeves, and it has the little comic book. The tins came with like a little Perfect Dark comic book. The other one is a collectible, which I'm going to get up and get.
Uh-oh, he forgot to grab it.
Yes, I did. Well, it's sitting up here,
Oh.
which nobody else can see that, but it's sitting on top of the bookshelf behind me.
Oh, yes. Oh. See, I can't even see where it's placed. It's so far up there. Oh, wait. Is that a...
That is from Morrowind. This is a Colossus. This is a Dwarven Colossus.
Yeah.
Now, anybody that's played these games knows that these things suck. Very much.
All right. I remember you sending me the picture of the Morrowind Online expansion in that. So you picked that up for the Wi-Fi.
Yes. Only they did not have, the game was not included, so I merely bought it for the statue. Because, one, we don't really play that online because we don't have the time to invest in that game. And anybody that knows MMORPGs, you must dedicate majority of your life to this game. So I saw it at N&B. We were downtown. We had, there's a new little ramen shop downtown. Really, really good. We will have to go there. Yes, it is fantastic. And I was like, I'm here. I'm 2 blocks away, and I have 3 hours before I need to go to work. Yeah, I'm going. So he didn't have much in there. He had a couple of okay stuff, but, he's a little higher than everyone else. and he had this statue sitting up, and I walked by it, and at first glance, I thought it was part of BioShock.
When you first brought it down, that's what I thought it was too, until you showed me the front of it, and then I remember you sent me that picture.
Yeah, so I walked by it, thought, oh, that's kind of neat, and then I kept doing my stuff, and I'm looking around, poking around, and walking through. There's some stuff I wouldn't mind picking up, but it's like, do I really want to get it? And I went back to the counter, and I looked at it, and I looked a little harder, and I was like, wait a minute. That looks like something from an Elder Scrolls game. So I flip it around, and it's Morrowind. It's the Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind expansion. And this is the statue. So literally, which at the same spot that I removed that from, I have the Imperial Collector's Edition. So now I have both Collector's Editions of this game. And the only thing I'm really missing is the Skyrim Collector's Edition, and I will have every statue that they've had out. And that one's like $200.
Yeah, but that's where the collecting bug bites, because then what's going to happen when you actually come across it in person?
Yep.
And then
it's going to get bought.
Yeah,
no.
That's the same thing. That's we were talking before on air. I bought some new music stuff for one of my favorite bands, and also our intro namesake, Iced Earth. The our intro is an 8-bit remix of one of their songs. And one of my favorite bands of all time, if not my most favorite band. Anyway, I'm going to go see them soon. Nate's going to go down. Maybe we have a few other guys going down with us. And so I got the collectors. I got the VIP passes with a bunch of loot stuff came with that. But then it was literally like on Friday, I'm like chilling out at the house. We got out of work early. I'm trying to rest and be comfortable, but with my current pain situation, that's not really happening too much. So I'm just sitting there chilling, and then I see that, hey, there's a vinyl sale over at Century Media, and literally 5 of their records, I got it for 50% off, but they don't ship out. It's like a pre-order thing. So
right.
These are what these vinyls are. These are repressings of some of their back catalog that Century Media owns the rights to. So then, if it's they had a sale on it, and they said all of them said that they were pre-orders and that they would ship out on the 26th. So what I'm thinking is that these are the second wave of reprints for these.
Maybe, yeah.
When they first brought them out, you had the first wave. They went out, and now they're getting ready to make more. So they went ahead and they had a site-wide sale on a lot of stuff. Hey, let's throw those up for 50% off for the pre-sale price. And buddy, I tell you what, it's awesome because I want to start collecting vinyl. That's I primarily collect video games and even some knickknacks, some of the pop vinyls and stuff like that. But I wanted to start getting into vinyl. The only issue is I still don't have a vinyl record player, but I do have a small little cool collection of vinyls that I have that and I want to get into it. I want to have a full-blown vinyl collection because I don't really listen to CDs anymore. It's all when I'm in the car or on the go, it's all on my phone. It's like Spotify, it's podcasts, which, the sound quality with music isn't always the highest. Well, when I'm in my car cruising or just going to work, or I don't really care how awesome it sounds. I want to hear the song. But to get the awesome, if I'm chilling at the house, why wouldn't I have awesome, access to vinyl? So that's just something that I want to get into.
You're listening to the Voice of Survival Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nate Phillips.
Now let's talk about some of the most memorable ones. What sticks out in your mind?
Let's see. I got to be the Mad Hatter once, and
That's awesome.
that was exciting. So that was because Alice in Wonderland is my favorite Disney movie, hands down.
Absolutely.
But that one stuck out. When I got to be Audrey in Little Shop, that was my other favorite. That was the first show I got to die in, and it was my senior year.
Yeah.
So I finally, by my senior year, I got to die in a show.
You were like,
and I got
yes.
eaten by a plant.
That's,
that's
the best. Absolutely. I believe I saw that play, actually. I'm pretty sure at that point.
That was the
because
last show I did.
the spring show right before you graduated. I absolutely do remember seeing that then. Yeah.
So, let's see. We did that. We did Oklahoma. We did Annie.
Were you Annie?
Oh God, no.
I didn't know
in elementary.
I didn't know at what time frame that all happened.
That was I think that was my freshman year. But yeah, we I think by my senior year. Oh, my senior year we did 2 musicals that year instead of a play and a musical. So that was kind of fun.
Neat.
But yeah, I think that really kept motivating me to pursue more musical theater
and everything you did. I mean, when because your final year of high school, like the last 6 months, I knew you, and it wasn't like we knew each other every single day and we weren't hanging out or anything like that. But you were part of my life now, so it's this change, and like there are these events that I definitely recall. Your graduation sticks out. It's interesting. You and my sister graduated like 3 days apart.
That's right.
And there was this like, are we going to be able to pull everything off?
You almost couldn't make it.
We made it happen though because we were straight up G's like that.
Great.
But you know, the other thing you did with your musical stuff though, I remember the Madrigal. Is that the right thing? Yeah. And that was your senior year.
We did the Madrigal.
That was really cool. Dinner theater.
It was super fun. We got to dress up in like Renaissance costumes, and we were given characters to play.
That was a very bizarre dinner. I think it was me, Sarah, your mom, your grandma, your grandpa, your dad,
I think my
Mark,
aunt was there,
and Joy.
Like a whole bunch of people came, and
we were in
it
this
was
one
and
section.
it was just like a night. We learned madrigal songs, and like we served Cornish game hens and fancy puddings.
It was delicious.
It was great. But yeah, that was so much fun.
It's interesting because I kind of know what happens next in this journey, and it's weird because you are at a point you're graduating high school,
right? I have to decide what I have to adult now.
It's time to be an adult, and you actually take a left turn here.
Yeah, so you have to apply for college, right? And I started applying just to like the community colleges around, because at that point I wasn't really set on any specific major. Like
totally.
I didn't know. Like I had ideas of what I might want to do, but it wasn't like, okay, career. What? I don't know.
What is that?
I'm 18. What do you mean? I've been a waitress at a diner. Like no. So I chose to go to Indiana University Northwest. And I decided to pursue ultrasound and radiography.
You hated it.
It was terrible.
Every second you were there was misery.
I took the first year of classes, and I barely scraped by in like my anatomy and physiology classes. Like I got good grades because I'm really good at regurgitating information and writing papers. I can do that.
That's a skill, but it's not the same as having the knowledge.
Right? And it's, and if you're going into that field, any sort of medical field, you have to be driven to do that, like, for your life.
It's got to be your calling.
That's not, like, you have to have that in your blood. Like, if you want to be a nurse or a doctor, like, whatever. And the only thing that's made me go for that degree was that I could get it in 2.5 years, and most of my starting pay would be $24 an hour.
So you were just looking at the logistics, not thinking about
right.
the real.
I'm just
real.
Oh yeah, I can make a lot of money doing this. Like, I'm done with school in 2 years, and I took the first year of classes, and I just was miserable.
In that first year, were you doing anything musically at all, or was it like almost cold turkey?
I was only playing piano at church.
So once a week.
Yeah, like we would have like the rehearsal like midweek, and then Sunday we would have the worship service. But that first year, I did like a community theater production of Grease, which was fun. I remember that
too. That
I got to be Rizzo.
Yeah.
Which was funny because I wanted to be Sandy because my name is Sandy.
Sandy, makes sense.
And I auditioned, and the director, when we had the first rehearsal, pulled me aside. He's like, "Oh, I'm excited to have you, be our Rizzo. Like, this is going to be really fun." I'm like, out of curiosity, why didn't you cast me as Sandy?
Just like straight up asked him.
I was just like, I'm just curious because I thought it would be funny. Like, oh, I'm Sandy. I could be Sandy. And he looked me in the eye and he said, "I didn't cast you as Sandy because you looked like too much of a bitch to play her."
Wow.
And it was more of a joke, you know, but
still.
Rizzo fitted, you know, like that was my personality at that time. I was a very, you know, in your face, like rough and tough gal, I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know if that's the, well, yeah. I mean,
don't know. Or at least that's what he, you know, in my audition, that he perceived that more.
He perceived your tough exterior.
He said I was too much of a bitch to play Sandy. And I'm like, but I am Sandy.
It's like come on. This is the role I was born to play.
That's bullshit.
I will say that's a weird thing of fate that you didn't get that role.
I know.
So
I had
bizarre.
more fun being Rizzo.
That's good.
But so that was the only musical I did. Actually, that was the last musical I did. I have not been in a musical since.
Not technically, but kinda. I mean, but in a different
like
way.
Straight, you know.
Performing that way.
Yes.
Okay. So wow, is that something you miss? Is doing the straight up musical thing?
I do.
I actually don't know this because I'm not searching it out. But are there things that you can like sign up for where there's like community?
There are places. You just have to look online. There are audition sites and the audition notices and stuff, and they're just open call type of things.
Yeah.
But after I did that show, that was my first year of college at IUN. So I basically did that show. I did my first year of classes at IUN, hated my life, and then decided to transfer to Columbia College in Chicago.
That was a tough decision for you, and that came with a lot of weight.
It did.
This is to go backwards to episode 1 of The Voice of Survival. That decision for Sarah was something that was like obvious.
Yeah.
Music. It's what you do.
Yes.
It's what you need to do. Not thinking about anything else, right? By the time you get to make this choice, she's suffering the repercussions of what millions of Americans are suffering from now, which is this Sally Mae bullshit where they just...
Now it's Navient.
Whatever it is. It doesn't... Ugh. They can all go fuck off, right? So you have a bigger burden now because you've seen what happened. Actually, David also had the same thing kind of happen, right?
Because
but on a smaller scale?
He went to Purdue... Cal
for a year,
right? And then he transferred to IU Bloomington.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he kind of went through that shift. And then, you know, so me being little sis, I saw my sister go through it. I saw my brother go through it. And then I was doing the same dumbass move. And, you know,
fuck it, it's my turn.
I'm like, okay, well, great. So, and my mom was hesitant about like letting me make that decision because she's like, okay, if you do this, you have to take out student loans. Like, there's no way. There's no way around it.
Correct.
Because like I had a small scholarship to go to IUN, based on like my GPA and like nonsense like that. And I tried to get scholarships for Columbia and it just didn't work out. Whatever. So initially, when I decided to transfer to Columbia, I wanted to do musical theater because that was the last thing I did,
obviously,
and that's what I wanted to do. And I started researching into their programs and like what their class would be like. And like, I don't know why it didn't resonate with me studying theater there.
Okay.
Because I heard good things about their theater program, but not so much about their musical theater program at the time. I don't know.
You're like, I don't want to take this gamble. Maybe I should do something safe.
I seemed kind of hesitant at first.
You're like, this is a lot of money to decide on a gamble.
Right. And, you know, you got to choose your career.
Absolutely.
And so in my head, I'm like, okay, well, if I don't do that, I should just do something music related and try to go the teacher route and try to do like, oh, I can go here, get a vocal degree and then pursue a master's and then I can be a college professor. And that was initially the idea,
yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, so I chose to do a vocal performance degree. So I got my bachelor's and, you know, I still had to take all the other random classes, science, English, lit, whatever classes. But the bulk of my work was, you know, music theory and voice classes and sight singing and like all of that type of stuff. And pretty much it wasn't until the end of my going into my senior year that I really even thought of pursuing like my own music.
Like now the change has happened and you're like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yes.
I spent
3 years there.
Well, and not only did you spend 3 years there, you spent your like entire life leading up to these moments. And then it hits you like, wait a minute. I've been playing all these other motherfucking people's songs.
Right?
Why can't I do it myself? Like, why can't I write my own
Right.
stuff? There's stuff that I want to say. Why can't I?
Yeah.
So what's the experience like when you decide like for your first attempt to write a song?
It's time for Brews with Dudes. Juicy. Why don't we get a sip first before we start describing it?
Yes.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Yeah.
All right, metaphorical
Everyone's
cheers.
trying so hard to reach each other. Well,
I don't know.
It's nice and light.
I don't know.
You mean it tastes
Very
like a
light.
lager?
It's very light.
Something like that,
A light
maybe.
blonde cougar.
They wouldn't say so. They
How
would
I
call
like
it a
'em.
blonde ale. They would also.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Really light.
I mean, if Rheingeist wanted it to be called a lager, they would probably call it a lager, but that's none of my business. What do they have to say about it? They say this bright blonde ale shines a brilliant malt character.
Yeah.
Or a Pilsner,
Yeah, kind of.
to be more precise.
I thought it was a Pilsner, too.
I think that they in this new age of beer, craft beer, they think by adding like the adjective blonde that it's hiding the fact that no, this is just a Budweiser. But
It's.
I'm not here to judge.
Yeah, I
I'm
can't
just-
really disagree with the
Actually,
fact that it
that's exactly what I'm here to do.
kind of tastes like a
That's
mainstream
exactly what
beer.
we're doing.
That's exactly. This is what I would,
It smells
you know.
like Budweiser, which smells like rotten cheese. I don't think it smells like Budweiser because I like Budweiser.
It tastes like something I would shotgun.
Yeah, I picture this in like a beer bong at a college fraternity somewhere.
It says this cougar stays fierce.
Rare.
Maybe this is something that is supposed to attract middle-aged women.
No.
Where are they?
What? Dave, what you got to do is you got to drink these all night, and by the end of the night, then
you finally
cougars will be attracted to the smell of your breath and pheromones.
Well, I better get started then.
That's what I've heard, at least.
Yes.
Yeah, I do not enjoy this scent. Man.
That's just out. I'm glad that one's over.
It is. It straight up is.
Was it skunky? Maybe it was just
No,
skunky.
it was just. They made
It's not
It
skunk.
tasted
They
like
just
that on
brought it.
purpose.
It's funny because you get a guy like Nate who he's watching movies.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Not my
I
cup of
I
beer.
preferred the first two over the.
Yeah, I threw that one down the hatch. Sorry, Cougar. You're not the one for me.
Nope.
Well, goodness, we're not wasting any time at all then. How about we jump right into the bevels?
I like the name of this one. Cidergeist.
Yeah, the Cidergeist. That's good. Does someone else want to help pour? Are you going to make me do it all again?
I'll help.
Yeah.
Fucking asshole.
Are we using new glue? Oh, I should have saved my old cup.
Ooh.
I think this one was mine.
That's pink.
Oh damn!
Smells good, too.
I keep you keep mentioning the smell of the beers, and I keep smelling my microphone on accident.
What's that microphone smell like?
This one still kind of smells like spit.
It's like the piano man in here. The microphone smells like a beer.
That must be some horrible spit. Load me up, Dave.
When you're spitting into a microphone for years.
You start getting
Who,
Copyright.
you need some, Austin?
It's just a pre-sample of the events to come for the evening.
They own all the songs anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
They
how
wrote
you,
them all.
you know how you got
Super famous.
a old pair of socks on that you haven't changed in a while, and you go to take
Right.
you take them off, you clean
Paying
the
like
lip
Spotify,
between
man.
your toes. That's what it smells like.
That's what this smells like to you?
This one?
Creed?
Smells
Smells
what?
like
Yeah, I think after
fizzy
this
bubble
episode,
gum.
you're going back to no mic privileges.
It does smell like bubblegum.
I've known this guy to go days
it's like bubbly
without
bubble
showering.
gum.
Yeah, it smells
Days
great.
and days.
I think it looks like Dongo's moved on from this whole podcast
Cheers.
thing.
Yeah, you do.
Liar.
He's missing out on the cheers.
Does he have a
Yeah,
cup?
wait. Let's wait for.
All right. You already. All right, guys, let's get a cheers going on, and let's try this. The bubbles. Bubbles.
Fucking decent.
Wow. That is interesting.
Oh, that
like
is
it.
good.
Rosé ale.
Look
That's
at
what
the
they say.
IBU on it.
Zero
Zero,
IBUs.
dude.
It's a cider.
Yeah.
It does taste sour.
It does
Cidergeist.
have that tart hit.
I like it a lot. And Steven
smells
keeps
like the
shoving his
bottom
microphone in my
of the
face.
Sweet tart bag. Juicy fruitness.
What do they have to say about it? A rosé ale is made with apples, peach, and cranberry for additional pink hue, tartness, and juicy fruitness.
Juicy fruit.
You can definitely taste the apple in it.
This is definitely very sweet. This is definitely cider-esque.
Pretty tasty.
Cider-gaze.
I like the word rosé, though. This is 6.2. That's not bad for tasting the sweet.
I enjoy it, but I enjoy a cider every once in a while.
It's pretty smooth. Other than the sweet.
I could definitely drink a whole one of
Better
these.
than a Reds.
But I don't think I could have more than one. I could like start the night something sweet, and then like finish the night with this as my final beer, just to.
That's
as
the
like
nightcap
dessert.
beer. That's the nightcap beer right there.
That's my nightcap.
This is what you bring a 6-pack of this home to your girlfriend. Drink one of them. Let her have the rest.
This is not a shower beer at all.
No.
Not a shower beer.
No, I would agree with that as well.
Empty cans I've walked.
We're getting quite a variety here. I thought this was going to taste kind of like the Berliner Weiss, but it's not at all. It tastes totally different.
Good.
And it is pink.
Ben really liked his.
I did.
It is super pink.
It's better than that last
Think of
one.
that song.
Which
I like
one?
the tart one better than that one, though.
All right, we've had a pinky one. Let's hope this next one's stinky.
Pink.
Yeah.
I don't know a song called Pink.
By Aerosmith.
That's what I thought.
I don't really like Aerosmith, so.
What?
Everything's pink in the middle.
They're the ones that sing the elevator song, right?
Yeah.
He said the elevator song.
Tongue going down.
Garbage.
That is a garbage song.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a
garbage
garbage band, but that's like a bad example of.
Yeah, it's a bad example of Aerosmith.
I like that that's the one that came to mind. Aerosmith. That elevator song.
I always think of the one.
Talk about that elevator.
Not terribly sure, to be honest.
We got new towers.
This is doing.
I know, look at those,
It's
man.
good.
Like 1974.
Can y'all focus, please?
I'm sorry.
Good fucking Christ.
6'8".
Y'all are acting like
I'm
you've never
focused,
been
Nick.
on one of these things.
Okay.
You're done.
My
I
goodness.
haven't, dude. I'm new. I don't know what to do.
If Nate is the pod father, I'm the fucking dad father of this. Like, I gotta constantly tell everyone like how to behave themselves.
Shut up, stop changing the subject.
God damn. All right, how are we doing on this? Everyone pretty much slammed right through it, didn't
Yeah, it tasted good.
We've just got the one more, which I'm pretty sure most of us have already tried. The Truth. Is someone gonna make me get it? Vic, you're already standing. Can you go ask him for the truth?
The truth?
The truth. Look Casey in the eyes and say, "Can we get the truth?"
Can we handle it?
That's what he needs to say. If his response isn't, "Well, can you handle the truth?"
We can't handle the truth.
I'm already anticipating this next one's going to be my favorite one, just because.
It's pretty good.
I agree.
It's pretty good stuff.
The first sip calls for the third.
I believe
That's what
this
I'm hoping
is.
for on this one. I agree.
believe this is episode 14. Maybe. We've been doing this whole thing where we shoot sometimes 2 times a week, multiple weeks ahead of time. So I'm not really sure where we're at now. We just aired Saturdays Are for the Boys, episode 11.
I was listening to that.
That was
before
the
I came here.
that was the pregame to Dick's drunk catastrophe.
Is that out yet?
Yeah, yep, they both came out already.
Oh, well, I must have been too drunk. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
They kind of came out in reverse order then.
Yeah, it was like we Star Wars'd it, you know.
Yeah.
We showed it and then we're like, but listen to how it started.
I was shirtless for a lot of that podcast.
Episode 11. Saturdays Are for the Boys.
I'm kind of surprised you have a shirt now, sir.
I'm in a public establishment.
You're in a shirt
You
phase?
act like that matters.
He's in a shirt phase, right?
I'm in a shirt phase.
He's wearing shirts.
It is like 15 below zero outside in his defense.
Establishments.
That's true.
That's very true. It's very true. I'm not quite there yet. And that's also Dave Chips. And Dave Chips is not here today.
No, I've seen Dave Linder shirtless.
That was more of an accident.
You think you did, but you missed the sleight of hand.
Yeah,
you thought it was Dave Linder, but the moment the shirt goes up, he did a switch.
Switching around.
Chips has the larger
mode.
penis.
You're right. You're right. It's actually visible, whereas Dave Linder, you're wondering.
I can confirm that.
Gross.
How many do we need?
I mean, there's 6 of us. 6. So I don't know how he wants to do that.
3, 2.
It's going pretty good. I was worried about doing one of these in a public place, but it's not too loud in here, I don't think.
It's quiet right now.
I think we're doing all right.
It's quiet right now.
It's going to get loud in a minute because we're about to smash those pinball machines. As in play them. Like we're not going to go destroy the pinball machines.
This is Nick Maxon and part of the Doom Room crew. We do smash things.
All right, here comes the beer. Beer's incoming. Watch out behind you.
That's not what we're trying to do.
Beer's incoming. Right behind you.
Here we go.
Fantastic.
Here comes.
Service.
Yeah. We also burn things too.
Fantastic.
Sometimes.
Unless we're too drunk to figure out a flare.
Yeah, we got a lot of crap about the flare thing. They're like, you guys, aren't you supposed to just pull the top off? Like, well, yeah, if we're not, wasted.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Literature. I'd like to start by introducing today's guest, Michelle, who's been an amazing friend of mine. We actually met on Bookstagram.
Yes, we did.
I mean, it's been over a year.
Been almost 2 that I started stalking you. Yes. It was a funny story, because I liked all of your photos, and I was like, in love with your account. And then eventually you started talking back to me.
Yeah. And then we became super besties. How many days on Snapchat? We have to brag about that.
I think it's 308.
309.
Oh, 309.
Look at that.
That's even better.
It's on your end too. But yeah, and Michelle, you have a blog that you've been doing for a while.
Yeah, it's almost 2 years. Oh, I just dropped something. Yeah, no, I have a blog. It's been almost 2 years that I've had it, so that's coming up in April. I just turned on my TV. Accidentally.
We're just having technical issues. Okay, and another thing I love about you is your Hogwarts house. It's
yes,
so
I am a Ravenclaw.
And your husband is a Hufflepuff.
He's a Hufflepuff.
And it's so adorable. Oh, I love it. And your kids are sorted into their houses.
One's a Ravenclaw like me, and the other one's a Hufflepuff like him. The family divided.
Okay, what is Oakley? Have you put Oakley in a house?
I haven't, but I'm pretty sure he'd probably be a Slytherin, because he likes to chew up our underwear. That's pretty weird.
I love your dog so much. His big chest, and he's so small, but he's so big,
He thinks he's so tough.
Padfoot's definitely a Hufflepuff.
Do you know what Mike is? Because obviously you're a Gryffindor.
He's a Gryffindor, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
My cat lady would definitely be a Slytherin, and Zuki would be a Hufflepuff, but actually, I really think that he would just be a Muggle. Because Zuki, you're the Muggle
Just
cat.
so plain that he's just a Muggle.
Squib.
I love that.
But no, Caitlin got Padfoot a bandana, and it says Gryffindor on it. I'm like, I wish it was true, but he's a Huffledog.
A Hufflepuff.
He is a Hufflepuff. 100-pound Hufflepuff that's scared of everything.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, so we're going to get into Harry Potter here. Today, we haven't actually talked about this. We are going to talk about the first Harry Potter book. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer/Philosopher's Stone. You know, because America had to be fucking different. So, what made you love Harry Potter?
Well, there's quite a few things that honestly made me love it. Like, funny story, actually. At first, when it first came out, my parents were so strict, and we weren't actually allowed to watch it because magic wasn't allowed in our house. Like, anything to do with magic. So I actually wasn't allowed to watch it. It was kind of banned until I was like 20. Because right away when I was 18, I had a kid, and it just kind of was put to the back of my mind. So I don't know. I don't know if there's one specific thing that made me love it so much. I think it's just like a bunch of tiny things that added up to make it amazing. You know, growing up at times I felt a bit like Harry. Well, I mean, now that I think about it, I'm probably more like Dobby because, you know, just wanted that freedom sock.
Yeah.
But I think just like it's very relatable, and it just gives you hope that, you know, that there's magic out there, no matter what type of life you lived. Yeah, just reading the books feels like magic in itself. I don't think any other book has given me the feelings that Harry Potter has, you know? It's just amazing. I think the world that the author created is just so astounding, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that, 100%, because, I mean, I feel the same way. And we had 2 different childhoods, but I think that Harry Potter is so relatable. Like, anyone who reads
every
it,
type of kid.
Yeah, you connect to somebody in that book. Like, it doesn't matter who the fuck you are, you feel connected to somebody. Something resonates with you in that book.
It does.
Yeah, I cry every time I read Harry Potter. And watch the movies.
I cry during the movies and in the later books. You know, the first 3 books are kind of more timid and not as emotional, but I do cry. It happens. I can admit it.
Okay, speaking, you know, we're back on Harry Potter books here. You have a very unique copy of Harry Potter.
I do. I have one of the first edition ones that came out in Canada. So first of all, mine is the Philosopher's Stone, unlike yours.
Fucking America.
And then, also, I have the one wand twice typo. So on my page 53, where Harry's equipment list is for Hogwarts, it says 1 wand, 1 cauldron, 1 set glass or crystal vials, 1 telescope, 1 set of brass scales, and 1 wand. So it's quite rare. It was fixed by, I think, right after this copy would have been. But, yeah, it's really cool. I love my copy.
Yeah, when you said that, I got super excited. I'm just like, holy fuck. How awesome to have a typo of such a popular book. Like, how do you miss 1 wand twice?
Twice. But I think they ended up changing it from 1 wand. I don't even know. I think they changed it to, like, Dittany, or, like, some sort of, like, potion book or something. I can't remember what they changed it to, but, because I don't have a version that has it changed in it, but.
I'm looking through my version here, and holy fuck, not my page 53. Holy fuck. Okay, so in the background, I don't know if it's going to pick it up, but we have Padfoot just tearing apart a rope. Just shredding it right now. I don't know if they changed it anything. Mine has 1 wand, 1 cauldron, 1 set glass or crystal vials, 1 telescope, 1 set brass scales, and then right underneath that is students may also bring an owl or a cat.
Oh, so they just erased it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was 1 wand is at the bottom of the brass scales.
Yep.
So it was a first thought and an afterthought.
And last.
this is important. Oh fuck, this is important. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not how that went, but that's how I'd like to envision it.
We should remind them again.
One fucking one, okay. Alright, so Michelle and I both reread Harry Potter, in the past couple weeks. I was super behind.